You ever stand in your own kitchen and feel like an outsider in your own life? It was a Saturday evening, the kind where you're supposed to argue over pizza toppings or what movie to stream, not whether your wife wants to go out clubbing like she's 21 again. I was chopping onions for dinner. Something simple, some pasta maybe. The knife hitting the board was the only sound until Hannah walked in and leaned against the counter with that calculated stillness she uses when she's about to ask for something she knows I won't like. "Hey," she said lightly, brushing a strand of hair behind her ear. "I was thinking, there's this girls only thing at Club Loom tonight. Emily and the others invited me. I haven't gone out in ages. I need a night to breathe and just be me." I didn't look up right away, just kept slicing. My gut clenched before my brain caught up. "Girls only," I repeated. "You mean the same club that's full of half-dressed guys grinding on anything with a pulse?" She rolled her eyes. "Don't be dramatic. It's not like that." I put down the knife, finally facing her. "Is it? Because last time you said it was a birthday dinner. You came home at 2 in the morning smelling like tequila and lies." Her arms crossed. "Wow. So now I'm a liar?" "You lied by omission, Hannah. That counts." She scoffed. "You're being controlling again." I knew this would happen the second I brought it up. I took a breath. "It's not about control. It's about patterns. Every time you say it's harmless, something comes back to bite us. I'm asking you to be honest. Why the sudden need to be yourself in a club full of strangers?" Her eyes narrowed. "Because I'm tired, Mark. Tired of pretending to be the version of me you want. The good wife who cooks, cleans, smiles when she's miserable. I want to feel alive again. I want to feel something other than trapped." My jaw clenched. "So now I'm the prison warden." She didn't answer, just stared at me with a challenge in her eyes, daring me to stop her. "I'm not your enemy, Hannah. I'm your husband." "And husbands should trust their wives," she snapped. "Not treat them like suspects every time they want some air. Then stop giving me reasons to doubt." Her lips parted, ready to fire back, but she paused. "You know what? I don't need this. I thought you'd understand. I thought maybe you'd show some faith in me for once." With that, she spun on her heel and stormed off, the slap of her bare feet against the tile echoing through the house. The door to our bedroom slammed so hard a framed photo rattled on the wall. I stood there, frozen. The scent of garlic hung heavy in the air, a cruel reminder that I'd been trying to make something warm while she set fire to everything. We weren't rich. We weren't glamorous. Just middle-class folks living in a 2-bedroom fixer-upper in Bozeman, Montana. I worked construction, early mornings, late evenings, tired hands, and a sore back every day. I built stability. I built a life. And somehow, that wasn't enough for her anymore. And the worst part? This fight wasn't about one night at a club. It was about what had already been slipping away for months. The morning after that fight, the air in the house was thick with silence. You know the kind. It wraps around your chest and makes even coffee taste like regret. I stood in the kitchen, staring at 2 mugs. Hers was the blue one with a chipped handle. She hadn't come out of the bedroom yet, and part of me hoped she'd walk in, make some half-apology, maybe even smile. Instead, I heard the soft creak of floorboards and the bathroom door shutting quietly. I wanted to believe we still had something worth saving. Maybe it was stupid, maybe even naive, but I'd booked something last minute the night before. A cabin tucked away in the Absarica Mountains. Remote, quiet, just the 2 of us, no cell reception, no clubs, no friends pulling her toward nightlife. Just a chance to breathe, together. She finally emerged around 9 a.m., wrapped in that gray cardigan she always wore when she wanted to seem small. Her face was unreadable. No makeup, dark circles under her eyes, hair still damp. I smiled gently. "Morning. I have something to show you." She didn't return the smile, just blinked, skeptical. "What?" I pulled out my phone and showed her the booking confirmation. "It's a cabin. 3 nights. Starting today. I thought maybe we needed to get out of town. Just us. No noise. No stress." Her reaction was nothing like what I expected. She blinked at the screen for a moment, then looked at me like I'd just handed her a suitcase full of bricks. "I can't go," she said flatly. I tried to keep my tone even. "Why not?" She sighed and looked away. "I don't feel well. My stomach's been off since last night." I nodded slowly. "It's not food poisoning, Hannah. We ate the same dinner." "I didn't sleep," she added quickly. "I'm just not in the mood to be stuck in a cabin. I need to rest." I could feel the heat rising in my chest. So let me get this straight. You were ready to hit a club last night, but today a quiet cabin is too much? She looked at me like I was the problem. I didn't say that. Stop twisting everything. I sat down at the table and looked at her. Really looked. And for the first time, I didn't see confusion or guilt. I saw calculation. She knew exactly what she was doing, keeping one foot in our marriage and the other somewhere else. What happened to needing space to breathe? I asked quietly. I'm offering you the kind of space people write novels about. Her eyes flicked to the clock. I don't want to fight. You don't want to fight because you already decided. I'm just here picking up the pieces after your choices. That landed. For a second, I thought she might say something real. But then she just shrugged. I'll pay you back for the trip. That broke me more than anything. It wasn't about the money. It was never about the money. It was the fact that she saw this as a transaction. Like my gesture was some kind of failed investment. I nodded once. Don't worry about it. She turned and walked away, back toward the bedroom. The door didn't slam this time. That was worse. It closed with the kind of quiet finality that meant she'd already left, just not physically yet. And as I sat at that kitchen table, watching her untouched mug grow cold, a different kind of silence crept in, one I'd have to start getting used to. I wasn't looking for anything. That's what made it worse. That night, with the cabin trip officially dead, I found myself scrolling through local videos on my phone just to distract myself. The kind people post from concerts, parks, high school football games, just slices of life from the same town I'd called home for years. Nothing special. Then, somewhere between a clip of a dog parade and a fireworks test gone wrong, I saw something that made my thumb freeze mid-swipe. Club Loom. The title flashed in neon text over a shaky video, backed by pulsing music and flashing lights. Someone had posted a story-length clip from the dance floor. And for reasons I couldn't explain, I hit play. At first, it was just what you'd expect. A crowd of sweaty bodies moving in rhythm, colored lights washing over them in blue and red waves. But then, midway through a sweep of the camera, she appeared. Hannah, laughing, dancing, drink in hand, and not alone. She was twirling in a circle, hips swinging too freely for someone who claimed she'd been sick just hours earlier. Two men flanked her, guys I'd never seen, one leaning in close, whispering something into her ear. She didn't flinch. She didn't pull back. She smiled. That smile. I hadn't seen it in months. And it wasn't mine anymore. I didn't react at first. I didn't throw the phone or shout or storm into the other room. I just sat there, staring at the screen like it belonged to someone else. You know that numb feeling you get when the last puzzle piece slides into place? That cold click of truth? Yeah, that's what this was. She hadn't given up the clubs like she claimed. She hadn't evolved. She'd just gotten smarter. Subtler. Asking for permission this time was her way of giving herself moral cover. She wasn't asking because she respected me. She was trying to normalize what she was already doing behind my back. My stomach didn't drop. My heart didn't race. I felt hollow. Like every word she'd said over the past month was now dripping with invisible ink. And that video had held the blacklight. What hurt most wasn't the image of her dancing with other men. It was the ease in her movements. The familiarity. The routine. This wasn't new. This wasn't a spontaneous bad choice. This was her life. And I was the one who didn't belong in it. I watched the video again. Not to torture myself, just to be sure. I watched her laugh. I watched her hair whip around. I watched her let her body fall into rhythm with strangers like she hadn't slammed a door in our house just 24 hours earlier. I paused on a frame where she looked right at the camera. The smile she wore in that moment. It wasn't guilty. It wasn't hidden. It was alive. That's when I knew. The woman I married had been slowly erasing herself, piece by piece, until all that was left was a performance she kept up at home. And the real show, the real Hannah, was saved for nights like this. I closed the video. And for the first time, I didn't feel like fixing anything. I felt like watching. Watching, waiting, and gathering what I needed. Not to salvage our marriage, but to end it right. The next morning, I made her coffee, exactly how she liked it. No bitterness in my voice. No accusations in my eyes. Just cream, sugar, and a soft good morning. She blinked, visibly disarmed, and mumbled a thank you. I watched her sip it at the table, glancing at me between cautious bites of toast like I'd been replaced by someone unfamiliar. And in a way, I had. I wasn't angry anymore. Not outwardly. I was calm. Focused. She thought that little video from the club would remain buried in the noise. She didn't know I'd seen it. That was my advantage. So I smiled more, cooked more, laughed at her stories, even the ones I'd heard before. She softened, slowly, mistaking my warmth for surrender. The more pleasant I became, the more relaxed she acted, like she'd finally broken through to the version of me she wanted. Or maybe thought she'd tamed me, defanged the suspicion in my voice. But every grin I gave her came with a silent tally in my head. Each dish I washed, each kiss on the cheek, I was counting. Behind the mask, I was busy. That same week, I called a lawyer. David Ramsey, recommended by a buddy who'd walked through his own divorce not long ago. We met in a quiet corner of his office, and I laid it all out. The club, the lies, the video, the carefully cultivated pattern of omission. David listened closely, nodding. "You're not just reacting," he said. "You're preparing. That's rare." I handed him the printed screenshots of the video, the club address, timestamps, her denial from the day after. "I don't want revenge," I told him. "I want clarity." He smirked. "Then we'll give you both." The next few days were textbook. I bought her flowers, suggested a movie night. When she told me she might go out with friends again, I said, "Of course. Have fun." She tilted her head at me. "Really?" I smiled. "You deserve some space, right?" She practically beamed. That night, while she got dressed upstairs, I sat downstairs with a glass of wine and quietly reviewed the first draft of the divorce papers David had emailed me. Irreconcilable differences, asset protection, documentation of emotional and behavioral misconduct. Every clause was surgical. Hannah didn't know it, but she wasn't building freedom. She was building evidence. And I was just helping her along with a gentle hand on her back and a smile on my face. Let her dance. Let her drink. Let her believe I'd finally loosened the reins. Because what she didn't see, what she couldn't even imagine, was that I wasn't letting go. I was setting her free. On paper. They say the devil's in the details. But sometimes, the truth is in what's missing. It was a Thursday evening. The kind that slips between workdays and barely leaves a trace. We were chopping vegetables in the kitchen, me on onions, her on bell peppers. There was music playing low on the speaker. A little R&B, something ordinary. She was humming. That's when I noticed it. Or, more accurately, what wasn't there? Her left hand. Naked. I kept my eyes on the cutting board, letting the realization crawl through me in slow motion. That wedding ring, the one she'd once begged me to buy early when we couldn't afford much else, wasn't on her finger. No tan line. No excuse. Just bare skin. "Everything okay?" I asked lightly. She didn't flinch. Just smiled, too casually. "Yeah. Book club night, remember? I'll just eat and go." Book club. That mythical gathering of women who never once posted a group photo, never discussed any actual books, and somehow always left her coming home after midnight smelling like hotel lobby perfume. I nodded. Of course. She left 15 minutes later, in a rush, still humming. I watched her grab her purse, keys, jacket. She kissed my cheek on autopilot and was out the door before I could even pretend to stop her. The moment the door shut, I went upstairs, straight to the bathroom. And there it was, resting on the counter like she'd just removed a pair of earrings. Her wedding ring. Not hidden, not stuffed in a drawer, just placed, like it was a prop she'd take off for a role she was stepping into. That was the moment everything snapped into place. It was never about space, or trust, or needing time to feel like herself. She didn't forget the ring. She didn't misplace it. She removed it, deliberately. Because in whatever world she'd created for herself, her ring wasn't part of the costume. I stood there, looking at it for a long time. 3 years of marriage reduced to a cold circle of metal, abandoned like a hair tie. Then I reached under the bathroom sink and pulled out the envelope I'd hidden there 3 days prior. Finalized divorce papers. David had finished them ahead of schedule, knowing this moment would come. It was only a matter of when. I opened the envelope, checked every page, and then walked back to the bathroom counter. No drama. No theatrics. I set the papers exactly where her ring had been. Then I picked up the ring and slipped it into my pocket. It was light, much lighter than I remembered. Downstairs, I washed the dishes we hadn't finished eating from. I wiped down the counters, turned off the music, made sure everything looked perfectly normal. Because it was. This was clarity. When she came home later, whatever perfume she wore wouldn't mask what she'd left behind. She would find that stack of papers in the exact space where she thought her lies could safely rest. And she'd know. She'd know I saw her. All of her. And without saying a word, I'd answered back. I believe you now. I believe the version of you that takes off her ring when she thinks no one's looking. We were sitting at the table again. 2 plates. 1 dim light above. The kind of dinner you could call peaceful if you didn't know what was coming. Hannah was twirling pasta around her fork, chewing slowly, scrolling something on her phone in between bites. Her energy was light, loose, like she'd won some invisible round and could finally breathe easy. I poured her another glass of wine. She thanked me without looking up. For a while, we ate in silence. Comfortable, almost. I let the seconds stretch until the air felt still. Then I said it. Hey, where's your wedding ring? It was casual. So casual I almost believed myself. Her fork froze halfway to her mouth. She blinked, once, twice. Then forced a smile. Oh, it's upstairs. I forgot to put it back on after the shower. Her voice cracked just enough on shower to give her away. I took a sip of wine. You sure? Yeah, she said too fast. It's probably on the sink. I nodded. You should go check. She stared at me, eyes darting ever so slightly. She knew. I didn't have to say a thing more. She stood slowly, scraping the chair back with that hollow sound of panic pretending to be casual. Her steps were fast, uneven. I didn't follow her. Just kept eating. 10 seconds later, there was a crash upstairs. A gasp. And silence. She'd found them. The papers. She stayed up there for what felt like hours, but was probably just minutes. When she came back down, her face was pale. Eyes wide and glassy, like someone who'd walked into the wrong house and found a version of their life they didn't recognize. She stood in the doorway, papers trembling in her hands. I didn't look up right away, just kept twirling pasta. She opened her mouth, but no sound came out. Finally, I met her eyes. I know about the clubs, I said quietly. I know everything. Her knees buckled just slightly. She gripped the back of a chair. Mark, you didn't what? I said softly. Didn't mean to leave your ring behind? Or didn't think I'd find out? Her bottom lip quivered. I never cheated, she whispered. I nodded slowly. But you stopped being a wife a long time ago. I pulled her ring from my pocket and placed it on the table between us. You don't deserve this anymore. She reached for it instinctively, but I slid it back. Then I stood up, tucked in my chair, and walked to the door. She didn't chase me. Her cries followed me to the porch, but I didn't turn around. Because some silences say everything. And this one was years in the making. She followed me halfway down the street, barefoot, still clutching the papers like they could rewrite themselves if she just held tight enough. Mark, please, she called after me, voice cracking through the August night. I didn't mean for it to go this far. I never wanted to lose us. I didn't turn around. Because what was there to say? She'd already said everything that mattered, just not with words. She said it when she left that ring on the bathroom counter like a chore she couldn't be bothered to finish. She said it when she danced under strobe lights while I sat alone making coffee for a woman who was never coming back. Not really. She said it every time she smiled at my face and thought I was too blind to see the truth. And now, she was saying something else. That she didn't expect to be caught. That she didn't expect consequences. I kept walking, the breeze colder near the river. It was quiet out here. Always had been. I came here when I proposed to her. I came here when my dad died. The river didn't ask questions. It just moved forward. I stopped at the edge and reached into my pocket. The ring felt smaller than it used to, like it had lost mass. Meaning, I held it up under the pale orange glow of the nearby streetlight. It caught just enough light to look valuable again. But I knew better. Behind me, I could hear her steps slowing, hesitating, like she knew what I was about to do. Don't, she said softly. Her voice was right behind me now. Please don't. I turned to her for the last time. Her face was streaked with tears and regret, but I'd seen that face before. After late nights. After close calls. After promises she never intended to keep. You want to know what hurts the most? I said quietly. It's not the clubs. Not the lies. Not the nights you left me wondering what I did wrong. She shook her head. Then what? It's that you thought I wouldn't notice, I said. That I'd keep loving you while you disappeared, one choice at a time. Her lips parted, but nothing came out. So I looked at the ring again. Then, without ceremony, without pause, I threw it. A soft flick of the wrist. It soared, glittering once under the streetlight, and vanished beneath the water's skin. No splash, just silence. She let out a sound, somewhere between a sob and a gasp. But I didn't, because I felt nothing. Not relief, not sorrow, just peace. I turned back toward the street, walking past her like we were strangers again. And maybe we always were. As I walked home, hands empty, shoulders light, I realized something. I didn't need revenge. I didn't need justice. I needed distance. And now I had it. The river took the ring, but I kept something far more valuable, myself. If this story hit home, or made you reflect, drop a comment below. Have you ever walked away from something that nearly broke you? We'd love to hear your story. And if you want more real, raw stories like this one, hit that subscribe button. See you in the next chapter.